What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for stopping in. I appreciate the continued support. I am often asked about brand recommendations when it comes to this part or that part. Test pipes, high flow cats, no exception. I made a video a long time ago comparing the differences between catalytic converters, high flow cats, and test pipes. Check that one out if you get a chance. I've also made a video actually comparing the exhaust note differences between resonated and non-resonated test pipes, if I can remember. I'll put a card across the top, but check that one out also when you're done with this one. But not a single day goes by that I don't get asked at least once, what brand high flow cat or what brand test pipe do I recommend and why? Well, I guess now is as good a time as any to actually make this video and address those questions. So I want to give you some of the brands that I recommend, let you know why, and maybe give a little bit of insight as well that you may or may not find useful, but nonetheless, let's just get right into this sucker. And guys, do not forget about the Spring into Spring giveaway, the Tane S-Tech lowering springs for the Infinity Q50 2014 to 2019. You still have time. March 28th, Sunday, March 28th, 3 p.m. Eastern time. That is the last time you can enter. So make sure you go to the link in the description below to that giveaway video and follow the instructions. Make sure you get your name entered to win those springs. Good luck, everybody. Let's get on with the video. Now, for those of you with street cars and those of you that want to say street legal, test pipes might not be an option for you. So high flow cats is the next best alternative. Allows a little bit better flow, allows you to get a little bit more of that horsepower out of your naturally aspirated engine. So with that being said, what brand do I recommend? I would say Berk. Berk, B-E-R-K. Berk makes a nice quality high flow catalytic converter. You can do some custom configurations too with other brands. There's other brands that make catalytic converters, high flow cats, that you could potentially make yourself, but why go through all the hassle when Berk has a good set for you? I think ISR also makes high flow catalytic converters for this platform. I'll double check that to confirm while I edit this video, but those are the two brands that I'm going to recommend in terms of high flow catalytic converters. For test pipes, both resonated and non-resonated, what I'm going to tell you is that really the only brand that I don't recommend is Megan Racing. Nothing against Megan Racing per se, but just the fact that Megan Racing is the only company, I believe, unless 1320 Performance has put out some test pipes, I can't confirm that either. But they're the only company that puts flex pipe in their test pipes, and that's just no bueno, guys. It doesn't work out. You know that flex pipe gets brittle and tends to crack and leak even in a catback system. So having flex pipe that close to the engine with that high of heat, when those temperatures get so hot, it makes that flex brittle really quickly, and you're gonna have leaks in your test pipes, and it's a lot more expensive to change test pipes than it is to just swap out a little bit of flex pipe in your catback system. So my recommendation, after all that long-winded nonsense, is stay away from Megan Racing test pipes. That's it. So what brands do I recommend, you might ask? Well, believe it or not, I'm going to recommend Berk or ISR test pipes as well when it comes to resonated. I really like Top Speed resonated test pipes. Great price point, they fit well, and they've been durable. However, Top Speed seems to be very difficult to find, which is why my next suggestion generally is Berk. And ISR falls in that category as well. Of course, you can go Fast Intentions, and there's other brands out there as well, but you're looking at different price points. When you start talking about non-resonated test pipes, that really opens up the options, because there's a bunch of them out there from a range of price points, and I'd even recommend Manzo, which are just over $100 for a set of test pipes for the Q37 platform, if you can find them. They're tough to come by as well, but I gave those away in a giveaway quite a while ago, last year I think, but I ran those on my own car and super happy with them. No leaks, no cracks, no weird issues. They fit perfectly, and I would highly recommend them if you can find them. Again, that's Manzo. But you can get Z1 test pipes. Again, you can get Fast Intentions test pipes, but think about the name brand, and as you get to those bigger names, the price goes up as well. But this is where I generally have an issue. You hear this a lot, you get what you pay for, but that's not necessarily true when it comes to test pipes. I also hear people say, it's just pipe, and that's sort of true as well. Make sure it's a high quality stainless steel, and read some reviews, because certainly there are some companies that use lower quality materials that can cause issues with rasp and weird frequencies that you don't want to deal with. You could end up dealing with, crappy welds and whatnot. But some of the more inexpensive brands that I've used or have experience with or have heard good reviews of would be Manzo for non-resonated test pipe, and Beluga Racing, believe it or not, for resonated test pipes. But the reason I recommended the ones that I did, Burke and ISR, is because they're of high quality and they're at a reasonable price as well. You can get high quality stuff from Fast Intentions, like I said, or Motordyne, but you're paying a premium for a name and not necessarily higher quality. And there's people that'll fight you on this, and there's people that have fought me on this, but the reality is there's just no way to justify that additional price for what you're getting, to be quite honest. So of course people ask too, do I go resonated or non-resonated? Well, this is kind of personal preference, but the reason that I like resonated test pipes, first of all, this goes back to some of the value in some of these bigger names and stuff like that. When you're getting into $400, $500, $600 resonated test pipes, the resonators that are used in test pipes are so small they don't do anything really. The reason that I prefer resonated test pipes is because they reduce drone slightly. And when you're going with an aggressive aftermarket catback system, drone can be an issue with test pipes. Again, those resonators are so small, they don't really do much for rasp at all. And that's very apparent when you're talking about art pipes, for example, with the big resonators off them. It's still raspy. Eliminating a rasp really comes down to the catback system. So when you're looking at resonated test pipes, again, I go that route because they reduce drone. Running non-resonated test pipes, my system, the Speed Culture Studios custom catback system, would have a little bit of drone between 1800 and maybe 22 or 2300 RPM. I drive in manual mode a lot, so I'm not ever cruising in that RPM range, so it wasn't really an issue for me. But I just moved to resonated test pipes, which reduced that range of drone from about 1900 to 2100, maybe 22-ish, maybe if you're cruising in like fourth gear or something, or your car shifts down to fifth gear. But again, I'm in manual mode. I don't really run in that RPM range, so drone's not an issue for me, but it reduced that range of drone by a couple of hundred RPM, which is enough to justify moving to resonated over non-resonated. Just a couple of side notes when we're talking about test pipes and high flow cats, etc., etc. Another, like a follow-up question that I always get is, will it throw a check engine light? Either with high flow cats, we'll start with that. It seems to be 50-50 with high flow cats from what I've heard. I haven't run them on this platform, so I couldn't tell you. My guess is that 50-50 is probably about right. You may or may not. Nonetheless, you want to get your car tuned if you're installing high flow cats, because you're increasing the exhaust flow and you're really not going to get the car performing at its peak ability without a tune. There's really no point in adding modifications like that, eliminating your stock catalytic converters if you're not going to tune the car. That same sentiment holds true, and even more so in terms of test pipes. When you're completely eliminating catalytic converters, you're just really messing with the computer. It's going to try to calibrate itself. It's going to try to make the adjustment based on the reading it's getting at the O2 sensors, but it really can't make up the difference. It's not going to recognize what you've done to the car, and it's just not going to function properly. So, go ahead and install test pipes ahead of a tune, but I would try to make that period as short as possible. Me personally, I had the test pipes installed at the shop at Soho Motorsports the day I got tuned. You can certainly install them yourself, but for convenience sake and just not wanting to drive the car untuned with test pipes, I chose to have it done at the shop. Now, whether or not your car is going to pass smog, it's going to pass emissions testing with either high flow cats or test pipes, I don't know, guys. I'm not from every state. California, it doesn't sound like you can do anything to your car and pass emissions and pass inspection there. So I would say in California, probably not. There's other similar states, New York, New Jersey, I suppose, Virginia, I guess they're pretty strict and stuff like that. But again, removing the catalytic converters is not legal. Once you remove your factory catalytic converters, your car is not street legal. Your states may have differing opinions in terms of high flow cats. But if you're going test pipes, you're not legal anywhere. But states like Minnesota, South Carolina, Florida, there's no emissions testing. So you could maybe get away with it, but I'm not going to recommend it. But just to sum things up, guys, my recommendation for high flow cats, Burke. Resonated test pipes, Burke and ISR. And non-resonated test pipes, really, there's a bunch of really decent options, all the way from Manzo, way down in the low $100 range, to Z1, closer to the $200 range, up to Fast Intentions, upper 2s, low 3s. So there's some options when it comes to non-resonated. I recommend going resonated just to reduce the amount of drone. Again, it's not going to have an impact on rasp much at all. It's going to be raspy. Your car is going to be raspy once you install test pipes. That's why your catback system is imperative. And I recommend the Speed Culture Studios catback. Link to that video in the description below. Hopefully this video was helpful, guys. If you do have any remaining questions, check out those other videos I put cards across the top on. But also go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I get to every single one of them eventually. I appreciate the continued support. I appreciate you guys watching more than you know. Good stuff coming up for the channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.